16th of December 2021.
NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
$2 billion spent on NFTs.
Digital ownership, it feels so inevitable.
From news.com.au.
I'm Andrew Bucklow, and I've got news for you. Well, it just seems like everyone is talking about NFTs at the moment. Don't know if you know this, but the Collins Dictionary has actually declared NFT the word of the year, which is great. But the thing is, most people, myself included, have NFI what NFTs are. Now, hopefully that's going to have changed by the end of this episode. We're going to get an NFT influencer on to explain what the hell these non-fungible tokens are. We'll take a look at the most expensive and bizarre NFTs that have sold in the past year, including a video of a celebrity sleeping, bit random. And remember this iconic YouTube clip?
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch, Charlie! Ow! Charlie, that really hurt!
We're going to chat to the dad who filmed that video back in 2007, and he'll tell us how he made almost $1 million off it. Wait for it, by selling it as an NFT on the internet. Miss Teen Crypto is an 18-year-old from Brooklyn in the US. Now, she's an NFT influencer and educator, so she seems like the perfect person to explain to me what the hell are NFTs.
NFTs, it stands for non-fungible token, and it just stands for proof of ownership. Just simply you owning something, and it's proved by the blockchain.
Okay, now when you say the blockchain, what's the blockchain?
The blockchain is basically an open book, to put it simply. It's a ledger that has every single transaction done by a certain blockchain. For example, Ethereum is a popular blockchain used for NFTs. And if you look at that smart contract or that ledger, you can see the transactions of that NFT, where it's been, where it's created, who it's sent to, and for how much.
Okay, perfect. So what can be NFTs? I mean, I've seen pictures being sold online. Can it be other things?
NFTs could be anything, really. Art and music is just scratching the surface of what NFTs can be. I look in the future as NFTs being something like a high school diploma.
Oh, how so? Explain that to me.
If it was a high school diploma, you would see that the image of the diploma itself is uploaded on a certain date at a certain time by a certain person. Let's say this person is New York High School. New York High School uploads this image that is my diploma, and with the title, the name, the date, and that is sent over to me. And you can see this on the blockchain that New York High School sent Miss Teen Crypto her diploma. Okay,
and say you own that NFT, then if someone wants to use that NFT, so if someone wanted to use that photo of your high school diploma, would they have to pay you royalties?
I would say something like that being transferable. There is an option on the blockchain where you could actually say whether someone can transfer an NFT or not. So I picture high school diplomas being a one and done deal. Just send it once and it stays in that wallet, and that wallet cannot transfer it anywhere else.
Now, I think I'm right in saying that just because you own the NFT to something doesn't necessarily mean you can charge people to look at the picture or listen to the song that you have the NFT for. So what's the point of owning an NFT if you don't necessarily earn money off it at the time?
You pay to own the NFT because you have the value of that asset once you own it. Yes, you can, for example, print a picture of the Mona Lisa and hang it in your bathroom, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have the value of the Mona Lisa. So the same would apply to an NFT. Just because you right-click download doesn't mean you have that value.
So I guess where you can make the money out of NFTs is if I own something, an NFT for something, and then it really takes off, and then I can resell that to someone else, and that's where I can make a bit of profit.
Exactly. And if you're a creator, NFTs are extremely beneficial. Let's say you're an artist. Previous to NFTs, you had to rely on physical galleries to display your art. Now with NFTs, you can display your own art. You can now be your own store. You can now be your own gallery. And the best thing about it is that from the creator side, if your NFT resells on the secondary market, you'll always earn that percentage.
And how do I judge if an NFT is worth buying? Is it just something that catches my eye and then I hope that it becomes big and I can sell it for a big profit? Or is there another way to tell that it's going to be popular?
The community is what I find is the most important. The community is what drives all of these projects, and it's the people that really support it. So I look into the community, I jump into Telegram chats, Discord chats, and just see what these people are saying and what utility they're offering as well, and the team behind it.
So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Basically, an NFT needs a community to determine that it has value, just like society's agreed that the Mona Lisa is more valuable than other paintings of women with creepy smiles on their faces. Now, in 2007, a man named Howard Davies Carr posted a cute video of his sons Charlie and Harry on YouTube.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch, Charlie! Ow! Charlie, that really hurt!
The video's since been viewed more than 800 million times, and in May this year, the family sold the clip as an NFT. It fetched a staggering 994,000 Australian dollars at auction. Not bad. Charlie and Harry's dad, Howard, joins me now. Howard, when you first posted that video on YouTube, were you hoping for it to go viral?
Oh, there's a question. So, well, I mean, the answer absolutely is no. I mean, I had no concept of viral. I think very few people had any concept of viral. And actually, when it was first posted, it was posted as a private video. So, no concept of viral at all.
So when did you realise that it was so popular, that it had struck a chord with the general public?
Yeah, so there's a story why it went from private to public, and that's to do with just sort of friends and family and people wanting to see it, and my parents who didn't understand logging into YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And so we went public thinking that really no one would be interested in it apart from friends and family. And it was probably about the sort of October, November time when it was sort of doubling in views every day. And we're talking very small numbers, hundreds, thousands, and it was probably then sort of tens of thousands, which was strange. And then I think by the end of the year, so end of December 2007, it had hit 1 million.
Far out.
Yeah, and you know, by today's standards, 1 million people get 6-10 million in a day. But in 2007, getting to 1 million views on a video was quite something.
I mean, it's had almost 1 billion views now. Given it's so popular, I imagine that over the years you've had some pretty crazy sponsorship deals. What are some of the more bizarre offers that you and your family have received?
Yeah, again, interesting question. I mean, we haven't done everything we've been offered, put it that way. And it would probably be wrong to say the things that we haven't done. Because some of them have been a little bit strange. But you know, I mean, overall, people have seen it and they've always wanted to look at the video and talk about the video in a really positive light. So, you know, just being asked to put into adverts and being used in certain places and in films and sort of just background stories that you hear people saying how this person saw it and this person saw it. So I'm not sure necessarily bizarre things, but I mean, something again I quoted the other day to somebody because we were talking about films and celebrities and things, and I said, yeah, but you know, Tom Hanks has played me and Meryl Streep has played my wife. You know, it's weird things like that you can say, which sort of change the conversation a little bit.
Sorry, what did they play you in?
So Jimmy Kimmel did like a remake of the video. We had two of the Hemsworth brothers in it. Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep, and they sort of did 30 years on from the video. It's great. It's a fantastic video to watch.
You hear that, God? He wants mercy. After what he did. Charlie bit me. Charlie bit my finger.
Earlier this year, you decided to sell it as an NFT. Who came up with that idea?
So it was a mixture of myself and someone I worked with legally called Damon Collier, and he created a company called Viral Spiral, and he managed viral videos back in, sort of 10 years ago and beyond. We were talking and the whole idea of NFT came up. And
was anyone in the family reluctant to sell it as an NFT?
Well, no one else really understood. So obviously I had to explain it. And probably the biggest question is, you know, what are you actually selling? Isn't it? Because, you know, let's say let's say you're selling your car. You're selling something physical. You don't have it anymore. You've got cash. You can then do something else with, like buy another car. But with the NFT, we were selling something which you could argue we didn't have a couple of years ago. So what were we losing out on? And you know, were we selling rights? Were we selling exploitation rights or copyright rights? We weren't selling any of those things. So, you know, once everybody had come to terms of what the NFT was, then no, there weren't any doubts.
So how do you explain it to just your friends or family about what the NFT was? What did the buyer actually get?
So how you need to look at it is from a point of view of a collector. We have some limited edition prints at home on the walls, and we have a couple of originals of a painter. I mean, we're not talking Da Vinci. We're talking about someone from a fairly local that's done some paintings or created some paintings, and we have them on the walls. And as I say, we've also got limited edition. So all of these things come with certificates. And the certificates is the knowledge that you have bought something and it's from somebody, and it is truly what it says it is, what you hang on the wall. And with an NFT, what you're doing is you're buying a digital certificate. And that digital certificate is saying that you have bought this original thing and you are the rightful owner. And that thing that you have bought sits on the cloud, and you're able to go and look at it or use it for whatever rights that you bought it for. So in essence, it's a certificate of proof, it's digital, and all of that is underpinned by blockchain.
Now, this sold for just under $1 million Australian dollars at auction. Did you and the family watch the auction live?
We did. There were a couple of things we did. So we were actually on a Clubhouse call. So there was quite a big meeting. I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse. It's a fairly new social media piece where it's like just a big chat, and you have then a number of listeners. So it's like a Zoom call or whatever conference call, but it's done on phones. So there were probably about 600 or 700 people on there, and we were talking for about an hour before the auction. Harry and Charlie were on. My wife was listening with the two youngest children. We all took part and we answered questions, and then there was someone taking everybody through the auction as it was happening. So everybody was reacting to the auction as it was happening. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How did that feel to get that price? Was that mind-blowing to you, or were you expecting something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we went in not necessarily expecting anything. Anything could have happened. We knew that. And also, you've got to bear in mind that the cryptocurrencies had crashed virtually 50% that week. So there was a lot of turmoil going on. And also, no one had really auctioned a viral video before, or at least there had been a couple of the lesser known ones that hadn't done particularly well. So literally, we really didn't know what was going to happen. So it was very exciting. There were sort of 2 or 3 main bidders, and they were bidding geometric numbers as well. Like one of the bids was $111,111 or something. So it was, people were bidding in those kinds of numbers. So it's quite fun to see that happening.
How do your boys, Harry and Charlie, feel about the video now? Are they just over it because they've been living it their whole lives, or do they still have a bit of fun with it?
Yeah, so they've always been over it, actually. It's funny. I mean, how we say to people is that our lives have never revolved around a video, but it's always been part of it. Mm-hmm. The boys don't pretend they're celebrities. We don't go out and say, we're Harry and Charlie and expect people to be amazed. To them, talking to people on the radio, going to the TV to be interviewed and all this kind of stuff and appearing in whatever, it's just part of their life. They haven't known any different. And it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't get in the way of their schooling. It doesn't change who they are. So it's always just been seen as something positive, which we don't spend a lot of time doing.
Alrighty, it's time to take a look at the most expensive and ridiculous NFTs that have ever sold. Let's start with the biggest, shall we? There's a digital artist named Mike Winkelmann who goes by the name Beeple. In March, Christie's auctioned off a piece of digital art that he created called Every Days, the First 5,000 Days. The piece was made up of 5,000 smaller artworks that he'd created throughout his career. Now, before we get to the price, let's have a listen to Beeple explaining how NFTs changed the game for online artists like him.
So I've been making digital art for the last 20 years, and sort of growing in sort of popularity over that time, but there was no way to sort of collect my work without the NFT part of it. And so then this technology came along, NFTs, that allows sort of ownership over something virtual, and that allowed people to actually collect what I do, similar to a painting or a sculpture or any other sort of artist.
Makes sense, right? So in March this year, his piece, The First 5,000 Days, sold for, get this, 97 million Australian dollars. That makes him one of the 3 most valuable living artists on Earth. Christy's actually filmed people watching the auction. Let's have a listen to his reaction.
Jesus Christ, what the f-
Oh my God! It's 250 million!
What?
Oh my God!
69 million. I think it probably means digital art is here to stay.
Moving on, you've no doubt heard of Jack Dorsey. He was the CEO of Twitter until he resigned last month. Now, earlier this year, he decided to sell his first ever tweet as an NFT. He posted the tweet back in 2006, and all it said was, "Just setting up my Twitter." Yeah, not exactly Shakespeare, is it? In March this year, someone bought the NFT for $2.9 million US, so about 4 million Aussie bucks.
That doesn't make sense.
Some other ones worth mentioning. Paris Hilton teamed up with a crypto artist to create a series of images. One of them was called Iconic Crypto Queen, and it sold for $1.56 million. And how about this for weird? Kate Moss sold a video of her sleeping as an NFT, which someone paid more than $20,000 for. Some Aussie companies are also getting on board the NFT train, including bougie wine producer Penfolds. The Chief Marketing Officer from Penfolds, Christy Kite, joins me now. Christy, last month Penfolds offered its first NFT. What can you tell me about it?
Well, Andrew, this is a really exciting space for Penfolds. We were the first wine brand to partner with BlockFar on an NFT, and our NFT on Penfolds was a barrel of McGill Cellar 3 from the vintage of 2021. So this is a barrel of wine that equates to 300 bottles of this beautiful and very bespoke offering from Penfolds. You cannot buy this in a retail setting. And it does not come cheap, Andrew. You'd need to open your wallet up for $130,000 USD.
Whoa. Okay, so has that sold already?
It certainly did sell, and it sold quick sticks within 12 seconds after going to the market. So back on November 24th. So not long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, but a lot of love out there for this NFT.
It sounds like it. All right, so what did the person who paid that money actually get?
So they bought themselves a barrel of McGill Cellar 3. Currently the wine still is in that barrel. There is one NFT that they now own that represents that wine. The wine gets bottled next year in October of 2022. And at that point, the NFT turns into 300 NFTs. So there's one per bottle of wine. So these wines sit in a warehouse in Singapore. So the purchasers of these NFTs do not have the wines at their homes. Whenever they would like it, they can collect their wine, and at that point the NFT will be broken.
Okay, so once this wine is bottled, they own the NFT to it. Are they allowed to sell that bottle of wine and make a profit on those NFTs?
Absolutely. So whilst that bottle is still sitting in the warehouse, they can trade the NFT however many times. It could get traded 50 times before someone decides to collect the bottle. So in that way, you can make money. And what we've seen in the past through BlockFar and NFTs in general is that, you know, as consumers start to collect their bottles and the 300 NFTs turns into, say, 250 NFTs, the value of each of those increases.
It's obviously been a massive success for Penfolds. Are you going to do this again?
We sure are. In January next year, we're going to be releasing 300 bottles of the 2018 vintage of McGill Cellar 3, again via BlockFar. So this time it won't be beginning in a barrel at the start. We're going to go straight to bottle. So we're really excited to see what happens this time. You know, 12 seconds is quite the feat for us. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these 300 bottles in January.
You know, I think I actually understand NFTs a little bit better now. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I think I could talk about it at the pub for 5 minutes without sounding like a total dick, hopefully. Thanks for listening to today's episode of I've Got News for You. If you'd like to buy this episode as an NFT, I mean, get in touch. I'm thinking maybe $20? 10? 5? I'll take 5. Anyone?